So in today's class, we are going to continue on the things that we already know a little bit, but there are some concepts which still ought to be taught. That is on semiconductors before we move into PN junction. That's the idea. So before we move into PN junction, we will discuss some more essential basics. That we have left uncovered on semiconductors, which are fundamental to the understanding of the electrical characteristics of the devices that we make out of these semiconductors. So we know by elemental semiconductor, we know that the elemental semiconductors, the popular ones are germanium and silicon. Germanium and silicon. These are the popular ones. Okay, and in fact, they make the elemental semiconductors and with valency 4. Okay, although the atomic number is different, the valency is still 4, which means they need 4 more electrons to get to stable configuration. Okay, so they share the electrons and form covalent bonds. This we know already, and we also know what is meant by the electrical band gap or the energy separation between the conduction band and the valence band. So this is my conduction band, which is at a higher energy. This is my valence band, lower energy. The separation energy between the conduction band and this thing, valence band. So Eg for silicon is 1.1 electron volt. The band gap Eg. Okay. For germanium is 0.7 electron volt. Now it begs a question, which of these two elemental semiconductors are better or is better for the fabrication of devices? So that is a question that needs a reasonable answer. Okay, so one might be tempted to think because of the smaller band gap in germanium, we might be thinking that germanium will be better. Okay, so that is because we can obviously excite more electrons from the valence band to the conduction band. Therefore, with smaller band gap, we might be thinking that germanium is better. And also, if you look at the intrinsic carrier concentration, intrinsic means coming from within, intrinsic carrier concentration, Ni, carrier. Here carrier means actually the charge carrier. Intrinsic carrier concentration in germanium is of the order of, in germanium is of the order of 10 power 13 per centimeter cube. And intrinsic, which means intrinsic semiconductor is one which is free of defects and free of impurity, dopants. Okay, intrinsic concentration in silicon is of the order of 10 power 10, which can be easily understood from the fact that the band gap being smaller, definitely the possibility of more intrinsic carrier concentration being present in germanium. Okay, so that is kind of an intuition. Okay, now which of these two materials is better? Okay, so but one must understand, going by intrinsic carrier concentration, we might be able to think that we need more charge carriers, the more the merrier, because more charge carriers we can generate more current, okay, for a given voltage, things of that nature. But the fundamental fact here is that most of the devices, practically all of the devices, in fact, most of the electron devices are fabricated out of extrinsic semiconductor, which means it's evident that the intrinsic carrier concentration, okay, does not play a major role, dominant role in controlling the electrical behavior of these electronic devices. Okay, so that is the stuff. So that is one thing. And the second thing I would like to tell you is germanium is more sensitive to temperature. Which means you can see, if devices are highly temperature sensitive, then the reliability in the behavior of the devices, even with small changes in temperature. Here we talk in terms of the Kelvin. So which means, you can think about it, during the day itself we get a quick change in temperature and the devices will fall flat. Therefore, we need thermal stability of the devices we make. For this reason, for both of these reasons, especially silicon is the preferred material to fabricate devices. So thermal stability of silicon is far better than the germanium. Okay, so we got to think, we don't want a device to be highly sensitive to temperature changes. If it is like we are talking about the normal temperature changes that we experience in day to day, so we don't want that kind of stuff happening. Okay, so that is the thing. Now let us recall these couple of facts. We know p-type semiconductor is formed by doping with trivalent impurity. In silicon or germanium. But as I told you, we'll take it silicon because we already told you, explained the reason. Say n-type formed by doping. Doping means a process of incorporating impurities in silicon lattice. Okay, so the impurities go and occupy and they play their role in the conductivity process. How it plays is something we already understood a little bit, we'll understand more. Formed by doping with pentavalent impurities. This is thing we know already. pentavalent impurities. And typically when you say doping, it is actually 1 part in 10 million. So 1 part guessed or the impurity atom in 10 million host silicon atoms. So per 10 million silicon atoms, you might get or 1 million silicon atoms, depending on the doping level, you will get 1 guest atom. So that is the extremely small concentration. But it is amazing, this extremely small concentration is enough to tailor the conductivity of the devices. Extremely small concentration. So remember that this is a process of inserting or incorporating impurities in a intrinsic semiconductor. Okay. Now, what are the majority carrier? So if I look at the N type, you will have majority carrier. Majority carrier is okay. Let me do one thing. So here I will write N type. Here I write P type. N type semiconductor is majority carrier, obviously is electrons, because we are doping with pentavalent impurities, and this is holes. So obviously the minority carriers will also be there. The minority carriers are due to minority carrier is holes, obviously here in N type, and here it will be electrons. Now we have already recalled these concepts. So just to one thing that I want to tell you right now is that when you dope a silicon semiconductor, when you dope a silicon semiconductor material, semiconducting material, by addition of trivalent or pentavalent impurities, we are only adding neutral impurity atoms. Neutral impurity. By neutral, I am talking about charge neutrality. Neutral impurity atoms. Which means I am adding two neutral. One is silicon, the other is the guest atom, which is the phosphorus or aluminum or boron, depending on what type of semiconductor I want to make. So I have a host which is electrically neutral, a solid, a semiconductor. I put the guest which is also electrically neutral. So there is something called global charge neutrality. Global charge neutrality of the semiconductor. So remember, P type does not essentially mean, you don't say that it is a positively charged. Okay, that is a ion. P-type semiconductor is electrically neutral. So global charge neutrality is preserved. This is very, very important point. The only thing that happens is redistribution of charge carriers. This is something very paramount to understand. Redistribution of charge carriers in conduction band and valence band happen as a result of doping. This is what is happening. But electrically, the whole semiconductor, extrinsic semiconductor is neutral. Electrically speaking, the whole extrinsic semiconductor is neutral. I hope this is very, very clear, very important. So don't make a mistake of it. Now, I want to tell you, we know that the band gap is due to here. Like this is my valence band. This is my conduction band. This already I explained earlier, but I will also tell you once more. And let me take a silicon, which means the energy gap between the conduction band and the valence band is 1.1 electron volt with the energy increasing upward. Now what I want to do is, this is my silicon. I am adding phosphorus, let us say. So I am making a phosphorus atom to silicon. So I am just adding phosphorus atoms to silicon. I will exemplify by this process. Okay. So this is my silicon lattice. They share electrons. This is my silicon lattice. So they form covalent bonds with the neighboring, and it goes, the solid gets extended. I have only drawn a few atoms to show that. So this is my silicon atom. And they form perfect covalent bonds. Now I insert one phosphorus atom into the lattice of silicon. So the phosphorus atom goes and occupies, so the rest of them are silicon. Okay, I have marked a few. So rest of them are silicon. Okay. Now this is my phosphorus. The phosphorus has a valency of 5. 4 valence electrons participate in covalent bond with the neighboring silicon atom, and there is an excess electron that it has got, which is unbonded. This excess electron, okay, because it is unbonded, it is enough to, so this excess electron is being donated by the phosphorus. By virtue of donation, phosphorus atom is called donor atom. Phosphorus is donor atom. Phosphorus is donor atom because it is able to donate that extra electron, which is now this excess electron. So this is my silicon. Now when I add the phosphorus has an excess electron. This is excess electron can participate in the conduction process by hopping to the conduction band. By hopping to the conduction band with excitation by a very small energy. Therefore, when I introduce a phosphorus atom, I introduce essentially in the band diagram a donor level. A donor level called ED. This is my EC. This is my valence band edge. I should say valence band edge, conduction band edge, which means this edge, the band is over here and over there. So this is my EC, this is my EV. So there is a donor level, energy level that comes. Donor energy level. This we have explained earlier, but I am telling you again. I put up a this thing YouTube lecture. So this electron can hop. So by this donor electron can hop to the conduction band. Just the energy separation between the donor level and the conduction band edge typically is of the order of 0.05 electron volt. Think about it. At T equal to 300 Kelvin, KT, the thermal energy, is actually 0.0259 electron volt. So the possibility this is not very far, okay, because K is extremely small. The temperature, even if you add 1 more degree or 2 more degree, you will be able to make it up here, okay. So you will be able to get it there. So typically, if you look at this temperature, is it is the possibility, the probability of occupying the conduction band edge and participating in the conduction process, thereby giving rise to electron current in a n-type semiconductor. So this is my n-type semiconductor is existent, and this energy is only around what is required is, so the donor energy level is very close to the conduction band edge. Likewise, if I have the p-type, insertion of a trivalent impurity such as aluminum, gallium, boron, okay, in an elemental semiconductor, will lead to the presence of an acceptor level, in the energy band illustration. Energy band picture. Okay, so this is my conduction band edge. This is my valence band edge. A trivalent impurity has only 3 valence electrons, and same thing if I have a few representation like this. This is my silicon lattice. I have inserted boron into the silicon lattice because it has only 3 valence electrons. Those 3 valence electrons participate in the bonding, but silicon requires 4 valence electrons. Therefore, there is a vacant state, which is ready for occupation by a electron that comes from silicon and occupy this vacant state. Therefore, thus you will create a by when an electron from silicon hops to the. So first understand that there is an acceptor energy level that will be close to the valence band edge because it is readily willing. Okay, it is willing to grab that opportunity. The boron is willing to, that vacant state is readily willing to get an electron occupied to it. So acceptor energy level EA acceptor energy level will be ready to get an electron occupied in this state by some thermal process. And I just want to add one more thing here. Okay, let me first complete this and then I will do that. So the electron can from the silicon can go and occupy at the acceptor level, and when acceptor atoms accept the valence electron from the silicon, and it will acquire a negative charge. Okay, so remember, when acceptor atoms, again this energy is only the EV, ED minus EV is like the same thing typically of this value, extremely very small, 50 milli electron volt or simply 0.05 electron volt. As I told you, KT is enough to trigger that electron to hop to the acceptor energy level, constituting motion of the charge carriers. Therefore, there will be a current. Okay, so when acceptor atom readily accepts, when an acceptor atom readily accepts an electron, it acquires negative charge. But you have to understand here the charge carriers, we have two neutral atoms. Okay, we have two neutral atoms, we are adding two neutral atoms, and essentially those two neutral atoms is actually they are there. The complete charge neutrality is there. It is only there is a redistribution that is happening depending on whether it is a donor atom or an acceptor atom. But locally, the trivalent impurity acquires a locally, it acquires a negatively charged negative charge. Therefore, acceptor atom Na will become Na minus upon acceptance. Similarly, this is something I have to tell you. Nd, which is the carrier, this thing, it will donor atom, it will donate the electron, therefore it will become Nd plus. So here it becomes, if I have to moment it goes, it acquires a positive charge. So it could be a statistical process. Many such, only a few representations are shown. So these are Nd plus. So okay, concentration of ionized charge. But there is one more fact I want to tell you. These impurity atoms, even though they are charged, upon accepting or donating an electron, they are in the silicon lattice, they are bound in the lattice, therefore there won't be any motion of these ions. ions. Please let me make. It is the electron that does the talking, that moves. Okay, the electrons in the conduction band, the holes in the valence band. The impurity atoms, they accept or they donate electron, but they are bound to the lattice, which means bound to the lattice. Please, okay, I am not saying solid, bound to the lattice, which means they remain stationary. So there won't be any motion of these ionized atoms. Okay, that is one more fundamental that you need to remember. Is that clear? Okay, now let us move on further. So once I have explained that, let me go to another topic, which is the charge flow in semiconductors. Okay, charge flow in semiconductors. This is something which I will cover in this. So the points which I told you in today's class were not stated earlier, but they are very, very important. Charge flow in semiconductors. Okay, so there are two types of because charge flow of charges constitute current. Flow of charges constitute current. So the magnitude of current in a device depends on how will the charges move. Okay, and constant current. There are two types of current in a solid, two types of current in a semiconductor. One is called diffusion current. The other is called drift current. Okay, diffusion current. Let us talk about diffusion current to begin with. Process of diffusion is actually happening naturally everywhere. It is there everywhere. In everyday life, we see that. For example, if there is a smoke, okay, if there is a smoke and okay, if there is a smoke, then we have what is called the carbon particles are formed the smoke from the smoke, and those carbon particles from the center of where the fire got occurred, from there in the vicinity of the regions that smoke spreads. So from a higher concentration to a lower concentration, the particles move. So that is the process of diffusion which happens. So here we are talking about diffusion current. Okay, here we are talking about diffusion current of charge carriers. So how does that happen? Okay, so let us say I have a piece of solid. Let us say like this. Okay, I have a piece of solid. Like this. Okay, and I have a piece of solid. Okay, apologize for my bad way of representing things. Never mind, but this is, let us say I have a process. So diffusion, first understand, happens due to concentration gradient. Concentration gradient. So the diffusion will continue to happen until, like I drop a drop of ink in pond or in a bucket of water, you can see the ink spreading from the center from where I dropped to all around the place. So that is a diffusion. A natural process happens due to concentration gradient. Concentration of gradient. Here we are talking about charge carriers of charge carriers. Okay. Charge carriers. Oops. Charge carriers. Okay. And this is, let us assume that I actually have a process by what is called I inject lot of your trivalent impurity here, and I have more holes here than over here because I'm injecting holes from this side. I'm injecting more hole injection from this side, and concentration is extremely high. So here the concentration is lower, and then definitely there will be the diffusion of the holes that happens through the solid, and I can represent this graphically like this. So this is my, we'll consider one dimension. This is my distance. This is my hole concentration. Hole concentration P, which increases in this direction, and because here let us say at x equal to 0 there is x increasing, and there is a, let us say I assume an exponential decay at some time, and this is my concentration profile. Concentration profile. And here you can see, okay, let me put this very clearly. This is my concentration profile. Okay. And here hole concentration is more, here it is less. Therefore, after it will start to diffuse, constituting motion of holes. Therefore, there will be a current that will happen, and that current that happens due to concentration changes in this thing semiconductor is what is known as the diffusion current. Here it is the hole diffusion current, and the hole diffusion current, there are two things. One is IP. Let me make it very clear. IP is hole diffusion current. The P stands for the hole, I stands for the current, hole diffusion current, and JP is actually hole diffusion current density. That is current per unit area, current density. Current per unit area of cross section. Unit area of cross section. Now the profile goes like this. Definitely the whole movement of holes will be positive because it will try to diffuse into this region, trying to bring uniform concentration. So this will be the direction of hole diffusion. Hole being positively charged, which means, and we know that the we know that the conventional, the direction of the current, conventional current is along the positive charge, which means whole current will also be along this direction. Whole current will also be in this direction. Now, what is the expression for this Jp? If you look at Jp, obviously must be proportional to dP by dx. Okay, and there is also definitely the charge of the hole will come into play, and the proportionality constant here is called the diffusion constant. Okay, the diffusion constant. Okay, so this is dP for hole and dN for electrons. Okay, so Jp will be equivalent to Q dP, the proportionally constant dP by dx. Because it is primarily happening only due to the concentration gradient, there is no other thing, but Q will come into play because it is the charge that it is carrying. So charge is very important. So Q will come into play, and I will say because the conventional direction is along the stuff. Now you see here dP by dx is actually decreasing as a function of distance. So there will be, and the conventional direction is, so there will be a negative sign so as to ensure the whole current and the whole diffusion are in the same direction. So there will be a minus sign here. So Jp essentially, this formula is very important. What is the unit of this diffusion constant? I will tell you. So dP, excuse me, dP, there is a problem writing over there, so let me not write it here. So I will write it here. dP is diffusion constant, diffusion constant or diffusivity, diffusion constant or diffusivity, or diffusivity of holes, diffusivity. Now here you have the formula Jp equal to minus Q dP dP by dx. So dP by dx is negative, therefore constituting a current which is along the positive direction as it should be. Okay, so this negative sign you must keep that in mind for this thing, and you put 1.6 into 10 power minus, but put this, take the derivative with respect to x, substitute here, and what is this diffusion constant? What is the unit it will be? What will be the unit of diffusion constant? Unit of diffusion constant is actually, you see here, Jp is Jp equal to, always I go from the formula Jp equal to Q dP dN by dx. Okay, so this is my concentration. Okay, concentration is per this thing. So what will be the unit of diffusion constant? If you look at Jp, the unit will be centimeter square per second. This is the unit of Jp. Okay, wait a second. Okay, no, sorry, I'm sorry. That is not the unit. That is for the constant. Okay, so Jp is the current density. The unit obviously is current per unit area, which means it will be ampere per centimeter square. I always told you this is ampere per centimeter square. This is charge on the electron, that will be Coulomb, and dp dn by dx. Okay, dn by dx, if you look at it, it gives rise to, so what will be the unit of this thing? So the unit of stuff will be, this is Coulomb, dp is there, and dn by dx. Okay, so this is concentration, and it is always measured in terms of this one, what is that called, per centimeter cube. So which means there is a dx is there, so it becomes actually Coulomb dp becomes actually 1 by centimeter to the power 4. Please pay attention here. Pay attention here. This is centimeter 4. I will stop with this diffusion current today. Just hold on. This is centimeter power 4, and this is Coulomb, and dp is there. So this is ampere per centimeter square. Ampere per centimeter square is nothing but Coulomb per second centimeter square equal to Coulomb. Okay, I am writing only the units into the unit of dp. Okay, so let me put the unit I want to find, SI unit, and not SI unit. Actually, we are using centimeter, so because of the device being, so here it is gone. So there will be only centimeter square remaining. So Coulomb will be gone. So essentially, the unit of diffusion constant is centimeter square per second. So what I wrote initially, that was the unit for the diffusion constant. Okay, so remember that diffusion constant, typically if you look at silicon, intrinsic silicon, if you look at intrinsic silicon, diffusion constant at dp will be equivalent to 12 centimeter square per second, and dn will be equivalent to 35 centimeter square per second. And likewise, we can actually write the this thing for the, just a second. For the electron diffusion current, in 2 minutes the class will be over. Electron diffusion current density expression I will give you, because I have already explained, it is the same concentration gradient. So electron diffusion current density will denote it by Jn, and here the profile again, let us say here it goes like this. So depends on how the profile, carrier profile goes, that will be the direction you have to attribute. This is an exponential decay, and here this is my distance x, this is my value of n. So n dp by dn by dx is negative. Okay, the electron will diffuse in this direction because obvious, this is my electron diffusion direction. But the conventional current, electron current due to electrons, the conventional current direction will be opposite to that of the direction of the motion. So this is my electron current direction. current due to electron flow, electron current direction. So this is electron diffusion direction. So if you look at the holes, okay, the whole direction and the whole current and whole diffusion are in the same direction, positive. But here we will see that dN by dx is negative because the electron being negatively charged. So if I write, for example, Jn will be equal to Q. I will show you this Q dN by dx. So think about it. dN by dx is negative, Q is negative. Therefore, the current, although I have shown this, the conventional current, if you look at it, this is the electron current diffusion current density. The electron current will be, if I measure the current will be opposite to the direction of the flow of electron. Do not get confused with these signs. Okay, as long as you are consistent, depending on how these profiles are given, you will be fine. Okay, when we do problem, probably we will take it in the next class. I will stop here with this lecture. Okay, thank you. Just a second. I'll take the attendance and then leave you. When we do the problem, we will get a clear picture. Just a second.